Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So, The Color Out of Space, Lovecraft, horror, movies, TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival. And of course, Nicolas Cage. The first reviews reactions are in for what I would say is a long-awaited movie. And a long-awaited Lovecraft adaptation. We've been crying out for years and years and years for Lovecraft-inspired movies. The eldritch, cosmic horror. And now we finally have one. So let's get into exactly what the thought process is, but what people are thinking about this movie, and go from there. So we'll take a look at the Twitter reactions first, because they're here. We'll take a look at them. And go from there, because there is an in-depth review by The Hollywood Reporter, which I want to go in and discuss as well. So it seems really positive, which I hope, and I pray, I hope that this will inspire a new wave of cosmic horror into the world. Genuinely. Now, Yelp boy whatever said, The Color Out of Space was everything I wanted it to be and more. It mixed grotesque horror and comedy so well, switching between the two seamlessly, in part due to Nicolas Cage's standout performance, and most importantly, this film tackles the Lovecraftian horror magnificently. And that's probably the key point of that entire tweet there. It tackles Lovecraftian horror magnificently. Color Out of Space, the visuals are worth the price of a ticket, but you also get a sometimes moving film about this wonderful family who have their own struggles. A terrifyingly lovely Lovecraft adaptation. 2 absolutely epic reviews there. And then we start to go into some which are not so epic, but still pretty good. I wanted more mind-shattering eldritch horror and less Nicolas Cage hamminess. But since the film world is inexplicably short on Lovecraftian horror, I will take what I can get. Not that there is anything wrong. And then it continues. I would say, look, it's a Nicolas Cage film. You'd expect him to be hamming it up. But that's kind of, we'll peel back a little bit from the hype, and that's kind of what we're getting now. Color Out of Space. Richard Stanley brings into the realm of wackiness God-tier Cage screaming about alpacas, slimy FX that would make Stuart Gordon proud, and a completely phantasmagoric finale. Nicolas Cage screams about alpacas, bodies mutate, a constant whistling sound is heard, and I have no idea what the F I just watched. Nicolas Cage sat there, obviously with the, slash film. It's, Color Out of Space is certifiably batshit bonkers. Yes, I was left astonished by this trippy experience. Still much to process. Need to see it again. And that's what I would hope for a Lovecraftian horror movie. To not really see to not really know overly what you've just watched, for it to be so out there, cosmic. That's what I would want. I would still obviously want to understand it, but, Color Out of Space is psychedelic, disorienting, and destined to worsen my already bad sleep deprivation. It's loud, crazy, colourful, confusing, abstract, and has a great Cage performance. I'm frustrated, intrigued, and enthralled. Some things don't work, but most do. Nice review. Yeah, it continues again. Color Out of Space. Someone saying how heartwarming it is. It's a heartwarming tale of Nicolas Cage trying to juggle his herd of alpacas with the demands of family life. Oh, and a meteor that unleashes a wave of time-altering, body-melting horrors too. I love the sound of this. And we have that awesome, absolutely epic poster there. So it seems mixed, It does seem mixed, but more on the positive side to more on the positive side to negative. Color Out of Space is a midnight movie if I've ever seen one. Nicolas Cage outbursts, insane visuals, unrelenting body horror, like if The Thing 1982, and Signs had an effed up glowing pink baby. Undoubtedly creative, Color Out of Space features some ambitious visuals, neat creature designs, and a good dose of Nick Cage freakouts. If you're looking for a midnight movie, you could do a lot worse. That's interesting. Good to hear that the creatures are in there. I like the sound of this. I think this is sounding awesome. And there's other people, you know, we've got Variety have their film review and things like that. Dread Central have their film review. I'm not overly sure who did this particular review. Okay, so it was Jonathan Barkin. Over on Dread Central, I'm more familiar with Josh Milliken, so, you know, if it was his review, I'd probably read it. Let's take a look at the Hollywood Reporter review of Color Out of Space. This is a more in-depth one. I'm not overly sure. I've given this a brief scan. Can't confirm whether there's any major spoilers, but look, if you know what this is, you know what the story is anyway, so you kind of know if there are spoilers or not. Nicolas Cage and Jolie Richardson find their family lives threatened by an evil alien force after a meteorite lands on their farm in Richard Stanley's adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's story. Now, making the switch over from H.G. Wells to H.P. Lovecraft, director Richard Stanley comes back from the 1996 debacle of losing his long-cherished project, The Island of Dr. Moreau. His new Color Out of Space is a satisfying shot at bringing a classic of the sci-fi horror genre to modern audiences. Good to hear. Though updated with internet and cell phones that receive alien babble at all the wrong moments, it's surprisingly faithful to Lovecraft's original story, The Color Out of Space. So that's interesting. I would say that you have to bring these stories into a modern age, at the very least, somewhat, because you also want a wider populace to sort of engage with the story. And you also do that, you know, you've got to cater to the majority. So it is what it is. We want these things to be successful, right? Because we want it to continue. We want more of them. Of the many short stories the cult writer penned in his life, this was his personal favourite, centred around evil aliens who invade Earth as an eerie, non-existent colour. It has stretched the imagination of readers and filmgoers alike and has enjoyed many screen adaptations, beginning with the 1965 film Die, Monster, Die. Now, it hits the main plot points with well-designed SFX and some impressive night photography, which is always hard to do, so that's good to hear. Stanley's film manages to be frightening, indeed, even with Nicolas Cage's semi-farcical leavening, adding some nutty laughs. But again, that's kind of what you expect from Nicolas Cage. You don't watch a Nicolas Cage film not expecting that. Even Mandy had him go absolutely mental as well. But that played to his strengths. Now, Cage's bloody revenge tale, obviously Mandy, blah, blah, blah. Nathan Gardner has just moved his brood to... This goes into the story. Basically, it sounds really, really positive. Now, it says all of this is a bit random and haphazard, but it's clearly leading up to something, and that something is the payoff. So, going into kind of the final act, when the colour decides to let go, there's no stopping it, and one by one, the members of the family are made to feel its power. The dog reappears as a mutant monster, and the alpacas turn into melted cheese. Interesting. What do you say to that? Cheesy alpacas. It's hard to depict a scary colour, particularly one that has never been seen before, and that's the thing, right? The thing is, with cosmic horror, how do you do it? Because the beauty of cosmic horror is the utterly unknown nature of it. So it sounds like they've done really, really well with this. Now it says it's outside the visual spectrum, but DP Steve Annis takes a valiant stab at the shades of pinkish violet that swirl through the air like a pastel fog. So that, to me, sounds like shades of Mandy. The film also does a good job suggesting horrid things, mangled bodies, radiation burns, mutated animals, without fully showing them. That's always good as well, because fully just showing things, fully revealing things, that's it loses its grip then. You know, you want something to have, you want movies to hold something back, because it's always the fear of the unknown. That's what gets humans. Only in the final explosive blowout do the special effects finally go for broke. No more subtlety needed, which, yeah, it's true, right? You want to build suspense. I love the sound of this. I think this sounds absolutely epic. Now, I could continue and just read loads and loads of other reviews, but there's not really any point. It's mixed to positive. I would hope we'll get a trailer soon. I would absolutely love that. It's interesting. We've got a little bit of some stills here, but again, you can see that beautiful pastel-like, kind of colouring, almost like oil swirling through water. I guess we could sort of liken it, and again, I'll get some hate for this. What is it? Annihilation? Was that the movie? Yeah. It looks semi like that, I guess. Maybe that was the inspiration behind doing this film. I know it's not the inspiration behind the story. Jesus Christ, I'm aware. I'm well aware. But it sounds really, really positive. Mixed to positive. A lot less negative than I thought would happen, because Lovecraft doesn't get as much love as it deserves. But anyway, what do you think? Is this a movie that you are personally looking forward to? Please do let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe. Stay up to date on the world of pop culture and movie news by hitting the bell notification icon. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I've been Mr. H. Take care.